U.S. backing those troops going into Ukraine? Will they have U.S. backing from U.S. troops?
Well, we're going to have a backing of some kind, and obviously the European countries are going to be involved, and I don't think you're going to need much backing.
A major transatlantic rift has emerged as US President Donald Trump and French President Emmanuel Macron clashed publicly over the idea of deploying Western troops to Ukraine. While Trump flatly rejected the notion, Macron sent shockwaves by refusing to rule it out, raising tensions within NATO. The US president made his position clear: no American boots on the ground, while Macron suggested that military presence could be an option. Trump dismissed the idea, insisting that diplomacy is the only viable path. In a striking remark, Trump suggested that Russian President Vladimir Putin is open to a deal, a statement that could signal a major shift in US policy.
You convince Vladimir Putin to accept the European troops as peacekeeper, would you think?
Yeah, he will accept that.
He will accept
I've asked him that question.
You talked to him?
I've asked him that question.
He said yes?
going to lift the block on
Because he's not, look, if we do this deal, he's not looking for more war. He doesn't mind, but I've specifically asked him that question. He has no problem with it.
Trump took direct aim at past US and NATO policies on Ukraine, blaming previous administrations for failing to negotiate effectively with Moscow. He hinted that his leadership would take a more transactional approach, fueling speculation about possible back-channel discussions with the Kremlin. But Macron's stance was starkly different and potentially explosive. The French president refused to rule out sending troops, arguing that the West must not give Putin a free pass.
He denied everything, but we didn't have security guarantees. So this is why being strong and having deterrence capacities is the only way to be sure it will be respected. And I insisted on that, and this is why I believe that the US has the capacity to do so. And this is why I think we should never say, I will never send any boots on the ground, because you give a blank check to violate any type of commitment.
Macron reminded the world that before the 2022 invasion, Putin had assured him that Russia would not attack Ukraine, a promise that proved worthless. Now he insists that Western military deterrence might be necessary to force Moscow to honor any future peace deal. Despite Macron's bold talk, the press conference exposed Europe's inescapable dependence on Washington. When asked how Europe could enforce security guarantees without US involvement, Macron had no clear answer, admitting that American backing remains indispensable.
Solidarity and support from the U.S. will be crucial to this, and I thank you, Mr. President, for beginning to work with us on this issue and the agreement that you are preparing to sign with Ukraine, and with all these discussions we've had are very solid guarantees that we are understood and that we have the same wish: peace as soon as possible, lasting, solid peace for everyone.
This moment laid bare an uncomfortable truth. For all of Macron's tough rhetoric, Europe remains unable to act alone. Without the US, any talk of European-led security measures in Ukraine is largely symbolic. The bitter divide between Washington and European capitals is now undeniable. While Trump signals a potential pivot in US foreign policy, Macron's escalatory rhetoric suggests Europe is bracing for a longer, more dangerous standoff with Moscow. Yet, the West remains in disarray. Trump refuses to commit troops, while Macron pushes for a more aggressive stance. The question now is, who is truly leading the Western response to Russia. With Ukraine's fate hanging by a thread, a defining moment has arrived. Will Europe break free from US leadership and take military action into its own hands? Or will it remain tethered to Washington's decisions, even as Russia watches and waits?